think of photographs and things like that as being so static.
Yes.
But they're not. I mean, these things, 100 years after they were taken, have this whole life to them.
For more than 50 years, Doug Keister has held the key to an American treasure.
So it just makes a great, natural sort of picture.
In 1965, he bought a box of glass plate negatives from a good friend for only $10. When he put them up to the light, what he saw was a forgotten world, frozen in time. Lincoln, Nebraska, in the early 1900s.
Originally, they thought that a guy by the name of Earl McWilliams had taken them because the family knew that one of their relatives, Earl McWilliams, had worked in a photo studio. But further research showed that it was actually a guy named John Johnson. We found his signature on stuff, and Earl McWilliams was a photographic assistant.
One of the negatives proved especially interesting.
When I scanned it, I realized that back here is John Johnson. That's the photographer.
My dad used to work in that post office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we used to come down there on 9th Street. There was a what we call it the tavern.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of the black folks went in the evenings. And we would park down there when we were waiting to pick up my dad sometimes.
This is Clyde Malone, the Malone Center.
A son of slaves, John Johnson lived his whole life in Lincoln. He made a living as a manual laborer, but once he picked up a box camera, he found his passion.
When you look at John Johnson's photographs, the lighting or him using the existing light in a certain way of positioning people and turning them a certain way so they're not in bright sun, so you get this softer light, more even skin tones. These are not snapshots. This is a guy that knew how to do it. So you see the environment that people are in. It's sort of like walking into somebody's life. This is a snapshot of a particular time in America. It's the old thing of, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and it really is in some of these cases. There's so many stories around the edges. And they keep unfolding. There's more and more information all the time. There's all these pictures of people with books. But she's holding this out. And this was in the show in Chico, California. And my cousin saw it. And I've seen this for 50 years. And I always wondered why he got it right away. Why is she holding the book out?
To show that her hairstyle is similar?
You got it. Yeah. So she is saying, the pose. She's got a little more attitude.
Yeah.
But the hairstyle. She is saying, I'm every bit as good as that woman.
Okay.
One of the interesting things about John Johnson was that he took pictures of African Americans and immigrants together, and sometimes separately, but he was documenting this part of Lincoln, Nebraska that was integrated. What was going on in America at the beginning of the 20th century was something called the New Negro Movement. And it was about education and about equality and about fighting against the Jim Crow laws and the Ku Klux Klan. If you look at the photographs, they are ennobling. These are majestic people. He is showing them as educated people Many, many, many of the photographs have people reading. You see them reading books, you see them reading the Bible, you should see them displaying a book. It's all about literacy. I paired this with one of my favorite Oprah Winfrey quotes, and it's, books were my path to personal freedom. I learned to read at age 3 and soon discovered there was a whole world to conquer that went beyond our farm in Mississippi. My personal opinion, this photograph and this quote should be in every school and every library in America. I've asked many, many people in my field and at the Smithsonian, is there anything else like this? They say, nope, nothing. Nothing like this as a body of work. And so it's part of my job and others that are trying to do this to elevate him, to be one of the great photographers, one of the great African-American photographers for sure of the 20th century, but one of the great photographers of the 20th century. He just is.